Alrighty, what's up guys? Hope you are well. Gonna do a bit of a training session this afternoon. I thought I'd show you guys what I'm gonna be doing. I'm titling this video, what am I titling this video? The specifics that I've been doing to train to defeat Rob. Is it a double-edged sword? The fact that I'm gonna show the world this? I don't think so. I think Rob's gonna be worried. Anyway, I wanna show you how specifically I've been using that Sabin Badalescu quadratic fist to make some serious gains. Alright guys, so walking down the side, this is where it's all happened. This is basically my training arena for the last month or so, and pretty much it. This thing, I'm calling the quadratic fist. I'm not sure what Sabin calls it, it's what I call it. That is my mainstay. Got an Olympic bar, put some weight on it. We got this bad boy here, okay, for finger clamping, and a few other bits and pieces. But this has kind of been the main arena for my preparations. Alright guys, so the specifics for me that have been the highest priority in my preparation today have been everything that is going to bring the match into the lane that I need it to be in. The lane that I need it to be in is this lane. I'm supinated, my elbow is the lead effort in the fight. To get there, I really need to be able to do this. I really need to be able to bring my opponent down. I need to get past their pronator. So when they're rising and rolling like this, I need that pronation to be set down. So everything for me is about crashing down in this preparation. I'm not doing any movements that are lifting up. Although there's reward in having genuine threat there, and I will definitely use that come game day. I'll definitely have back pressure on because you need genuine threat on both sides. It's not the most important strength going into this battle. So the most important strength, as I said, crushing down, defeating a pronator, committing with side pressure. So this thing is perfect. It is the lead weapon of choice. Now, warming up on it, I take the opportunity to warm up on it. And first of all, I don't add any side pressure. This is a really brutal training apparatus, and it's very tempting to just swing around and go hard, but more importantly is the correct, strict application use of it. So what I mean by that is just the little movements that matter most. At the end of the day, in life, arm wrestling, whatever, there's small things that matter more, and the more refined those small things are, and the more accurate those small things are to the objectives you're trying to achieve, the more rewarding they're going to be. So for me, objective one is to be able to be wrist straight, center table, wrist up, so good high rise, and then be in a great position to be able to really strongly supinate. So the first movement that I often warm up on is just trying to get my elbow. I put my wrist up, I maintain it up, and I just try to get my elbow down. And it's difficult to do that at the moment. This is an easy warm up for this apparatus. When I say easy, I don't mean it's not hard to do in a physical effort sense. It's a nice simple warm up. It hurts straight away. Everything you do when you touch this handle will target your elbow. Everything. So even this wrist up, I'm getting good static strength through my extensors for keeping my wrist up. If I feel that muscle group right down there into my elbow, it's on constantly doing this. There is no rest. That's because I'm keeping my wrist in a rigid position, in a rising sense. And this is a good warm up. I'll do this until I can sit on the pad. I'll start to extend how long I keep my elbow down on the pad. And you'll see I'm not through the thumb, I'm just grabbing it, wrist up, grabbing it. Alright, quick side note. Rob's main weapons, wrist flexion, bicep strength, and subsequently his pronation is going to be very dangerous. Okay, so these are lanes that I don't want to be in. I don't want to fight directly those three things that he has. I placed them in that order of their emphasis. His wrist flexion because of his big hand, and he's famous for containing people. So I would expect that to be his lead weapon. His bicep strength, obviously elite. So the combination of those two things, get over here and back pressure makes pronation really an open door for him. So just want to share with you guys what I see as Rob's main weapons. Okay, so once I am done with that warm up and I've got my wrist rise up and I've got my elbow down and I'm able to keep my elbow down and my wrist rise intact without any discomfort through the elbow, I start to level up. I start to level up the training. And this time we're going to go to the next most critical moment in the match, which is, so if this was to represent the setup, the next movement's going to represent the ready go. Now, in the ready go for me, the next most critical movement is just going to be to turn on wrist flexion whilst keeping a high knuckle. So to do that, I'm literally going to have that high knuckle position, and then I'm just going to do this. Just going to high cup. Okay, so I'm keeping my elbow down now. Still no side pressure involved. This is just maintain wrist up and cup. Wrist up and cup. So again, high knuckles position. I get my elbow down. My wrist is flat like it would be for a comp start. And then wrist flexion, wrist flexion, wrist flexion. And you'll see it's, at the moment, it's high. The reason, even though I want to end up low, I want to be crashing down, the greater threat on the outside, the easier it is to crash down. And when you do crash down, you get more value in your purchase of the rotation. If you just go straight in on someone who sees it coming, you're going to be very shallow in your purchase. So you want to be as high as you can in order to crash low effectively. So phase two, as I said one more time, center table, as if you're about to go, and then high cup, high cup, high cup, high cup. Alrighty, so the next phase that what we're talking about is to go from, it's how to force it into my lane. Now, what is my lane? As we know, it's supinated, it's side pressure, it's containing of the pronation. It's a position where I need to be in order to avoid everything that Rob has. And everything up until this point at the moment has been that critical, that center table setup where we're looking to just survive. Now, we're still in the survive phase. I'm not trying to pin Rob yet. I'm just trying to dictate and get into the lane that I needed to be in. So this next phase is exactly how I train to do that. All right, so this next phase is all about getting it into my lane. As I mentioned, we've started with the high wrist. We've established a good, strong rising back pressure. We've high cupped initially to give us that access to great rotation. Now it's about confirming the lane. At the moment, it's not in my lane. We want my lane, remember, it's side pressure, it's elbow-based connectivity and tendon durability. We need it in that lane for this match to be successful. So now is where we train that transition. So again, we're wrist up, we're in the ready go position, we've done the cup. At the moment, my body energy is leaning back. I've still got back pressure engaged as my lead main effort. Okay, that can't be where the match stays. I don't want to be on back pressure. It's not my lane. That will make my wrist too vulnerable to someone like Rob. So instead of that, we're gonna now train the transition from back pressure and a high cup to a side pressure low cup position. So this is what it looks like. So wrist up, we've cupped. At the moment, back pressure, side pressure, back pressure, side pressure. And we're just transitioning the body energy from this high containment to this side pressure. Side pressure. All right. Okay, so the next phase is the further development of surviving. As I said, someone like Rob is a stronger human than I am. There is no option to simply pin him. We need to put him into a corner where the lactic acid in his body is going to be more substantial than it is in mine. So everything up until this point has been about getting it to that point. Getting it to the fight of lactic acid. Now the fight of lactic acid, for me, I'm targeting his bicep and his shoulder, okay? We're trying to get him onto the defensive half of the table because that's where I'm gonna be able to best affect that lactic acid in him and impart the strategy that I'm after. Sorry, just looking at an airplane flying by. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, this next phase, like I said, we're still not yet trying to pin Rob. Keep that closely at heart. when we think about what we're doing in this next phase. But it's all about creating a problem that he starts to panic with, and this is how I do it. Okay, so how do we create this problem for Rob? We need to get him on his bicep. As I was saying, let's assume everything to date has been successful. Wrist is up, we've high cupped, we've made the transition. We're about here in the match now. It's still very close to center table, but now I have secured the ability to access my lane, the side pressure lane, the elbow lane. And what does that do to Rob? If that's successful, Rob is here. Rob's been turned slightly palm up, okay, only slightly, just maybe 1/4 of an inch of a turn, and yet he is no longer able to get out and around. Okay, I'm about to launch side pressure, but like I said, I'm not trying to finish the match here. I don't expect to finish the match. This is still about forcing the lane that I want. So this is going to be done with an isometric hold. Now, the isometric hold that I'm going to use this time when I train for it, I'm going to make the assumption that I've already got my wrist bent. So I'm not going to start and go through the full transition. My hand and wrist is already getting fatigued on that level. So I'm going to start with my wrist cupped, and I'm going to start with my body energy forward this time because we've already achieved that. We've already gone through that phase of the training. This is an isometric hold, ideally on the offensive side. Like I said, when I'm on the offensive side, it means that his pronate is defeated. So my fingers are containing any attempt that he tries to roll. And so I'm going to be transitioning between that containment on his fingers and also a gentle and constant leaning on his bicep. As I said, I don't anticipate the ability to actually defeat his bicep yet. I can't get through it. I'm simply going to lean on it and start to add up that fatigue. So here's how we train that static hold. Now this is the phase right here where I'm looking at Rob, talking to Rob. Like I said, he's trying to get out with pronation and I contain with my fingers. He tries to get out through center and I say, no. Okay, I'm not actively trying to pin him here. I'm just trying to keep him in this horrible space where he's stuck and goes, I can't get out, I can't get out, I can't get out, I can't get out. I still can't pin him. He's still got this enormous bicep that's just a roadblock. We're peeling down the layers. We're breaking down the stages to eventually be able to get through that bicep. One more time, the static hold, here it is. Body energy forward, wrist is cupped from a high position, so I've got good rotation purchase, side pressure. I stay in good fundamental form so I can transition to a defense if I have to. Talking to Rob, how are you doing? What's going on, dude? You gonna pin yourself yet, or what? He's not ready to pin himself yet. That's the next phase. All right, entering the next phase, and this could be the final phase. It might, it depends on how Rob handles it. The pin yourself phase. It's the first time it's on offer. Now let me just talk about pinning yourself. Okay, pinning yourself, a lot of people think it's a place of arrogance, or people think it's something that you only do if you're way stronger than someone. Okay, and it's in fact the entirely opposite. Okay, the reason you need someone to pin themselves is because you can't pin them. I'll say it again, you can't pin them. That is the true reason why you need someone to pin themselves. Rob is a stronger human than I am. And when you are in that position as an arm wrestler as I am, where you're the weaker man, you can't simply force the issue. You have to strip them down layer by layer, force them into a space using a combination of technique and execution and fatigue that subsequently builds up in them, where they end up electing to pin themselves because they recognize that they still have enough energy to pin you from center if they could get all those things back, and a restart is their best option. So that's how the pinning yourself thing really comes about. It's not a place of arrogance, and it's not because you can already pin them. Like I said, it's anything but. So this next phase for me is the first phase where I might have the option to pin. Probably not against Rob. I think his bicep strength is going to be significant enough that I won't be able to. But I might get the chance to. You have to be very careful with the desire to pin. Like I said, you can very quickly lose a match, even though you've won so much of it so far in terms of dictating where the lane is. You've won so much. You can't rush pinning against a stronger man. If you do, you risk running out of the crucial energy that you have that is keeping the lane where it is. And if you get broken out of that lane all of a sudden, you're on the back foot against the stronger man. He's probably going to finish you decisively. So you have to be certain that you know you can pin. So in this phase, I might choose to pin. I might test for it. If I can feel that it's there, I'll go for it. If I can't feel that it's there, I will wait for Rob to pin himself. But anyway, this is how I train that next phase. Okay, so the final phase where Rob will either pin himself or I will have the ability to get a decisive finish. How do I train it? Okay, I get out this bad boy, my rolling handle, the Armadillo, which is one of the pound for pound arm wrestling handles that I have, and I tie it to the quadratic fist. I love the way this quadratic fist feels because it feels like someone who's stronger than you, always. Okay, and I add it because I want to be low down on this. I don't want to be center table still. I want to be low down. So when I am training this final phase, it's a static hold with more active side pressure, where at this point in the match, he's no longer trying to top roll. Okay, so I don't need finger containment anymore. Okay, I still want to keep my cup, so hence I'm training with a rolling handle. I want to keep my cup in deep, but I also want to drop my body down low like this and actually start to think about actively pinning. As I said, if I can't actively pin him, I will just simply wait here, look at him and ask him if he's going to pin himself. Which he will, because the lactic acid will be adding up so much. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I'll sit here and I'll train sitting right here. And again, static hold. That pressure there is more like the active effort to finish. Okay, remembering that when someone is in that position, as Rob would be, if I've dictated these terms, he isn't always actively going. He'll actually rest. And when he rests, I will rest. When he rests, that's not actually the time to try to pin him. Because if he rests and I try to pin him, he's actually creating a trap and a dead space, and it's more likely that when I try to pin him, he cracks my hand a bit, and that's bad. So when he rests, I'll rest. He rests, I'll rest again. When he rests, I'll rest more. Okay, and I'll always put the pressure or the onus on him to get out of there and to make something of it. And every time he does, what I'm training right here will be standing in his way. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. Everything you see there, they're the fundamental breakdown of how I'm training to prepare specifically for Mr. Rob Vigent Jr., aka the Big Bad Wolf to me. The Big Bad Wolf, Rob, he's a strong man. He's stronger than I am. He's beaten far more significant opponents than I am, than I ever have. That doesn't mean I fear him. It doesn't mean I fear him at all. I love aiming up. I'm significantly the underdog in this match, but this is what makes me grow most, is finding, all right, how do you beat someone stronger than you? I actually think it's the most beautiful thing in arm wrestling, defeating someone that is stronger than you. I've had a taste of that many times in my experience so far, and that's what I'm seeking here again, is that opportunity to perform better than I even should be able to. And so for everyone out there who hates on it, whatever, maybe you understand a little bit more about why I am up and why I'm confident that I have a shot. Rob's the favorite, as I said, in this match. He is the favorite. If you're a betting man, bet on Rob. But don't think that it's impossible for me to win, because I'm coming in very prepared, very specifically prepared, as you've now seen. And with that, everything I did there, it can also be applied in a reverse sense. So that's the best case scenario. I train all of this defensively as well. So if I wasn't able to win center and I got pushed onto the defensive side, the same principles apply. Defeating his pronation, getting elbow lanes dictated, finding his bicep, creating a static hold on his bicep, considering bringing it back into a point where he needs to relax and retreat. So instead of him pinning himself, he'd be relaxing and retreating from the offense side back to the center. So again, same processes, slightly different positions in the strength, but they're all things I train as well. So yeah, I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you found it interesting. Rob, did you watch it? I wonder if this makes Rob feel more confident or more worried. Let me know in the comments, guys. Do you think he likes hearing my exact strategy? Or does it make him a little worried that I'm taking a very detailed approach to his opposition of me? Alright guys, hope you're well. Thanks for liking the video. Leave us a comment, share, subscribe, all that sort of good stuff. See you next time.